evening, everybody. Welcome to the skookom Session Roundtable, episode 3, season 2, everybody. Tonight we are, in fact, missing a few gentlemen, but we made up for that. We have, of course, Gary with us. Gary, how's it going, my man?
Pretty good. About froze out down here with ice on the ground and the trees, so hopefully I keep power.
It's cold here too, man. Like a freezing rain. It's nasty. Of course, we have Mr. Travis Bowen with us. Travis, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. Hope y'all doing well.
Better. Much better. Now, we have the honor of being joined tonight by a couple other guys, a couple of real good researchers. First, Mr. Dan Benoit. I said your name last name right, correct, Dan?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Good. How's it going, man?
Not bad. I want to thank you guys for having me on here.
Absolutely, man.
It's already been a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. We've known each other years now, and that time we did a show together, project, something. It's good to have you, man. It's an honor.
Oh, absolutely.
It's an honor.
Absolutely.
Last and most certainly not least, Mr. Tracker Extraordinaire, Patrick Vaugn. Patrick, thank you for joining us again, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Glad to be back and good to see y'all.
Glad to have you back for sure, man. Very last show was just phenomenal. I never seen a group of, like you were saying, Gary, never seen a group of 7 guys get together like that and just have it flow.
And yeah, so smooth and
without talking over each other, and even with JR around, it just went so smooth. Anyhow, you gotta love them. Anyway, tonight, we're missing Switzer, we're missing Israel, we are missing Stu, and I'm missing JR. God,
I know.
so quiet around here. God, Jesus. Anyway, we made up for it. Like I said, we got Patrick and Daniel, me, Travis, and Gary. So tonight we're gonna get a little controversial. And like I said, I wish Switzer was here. I wanted to get him going, and this topic would definitely get a rise out of him. Definitely get him out of that seat of his. But we're gonna see what we can do to stir up some stuff. So anyway, I wanted to get into, and Patrick, after I kind of go into our intro about what we're going to talk about, if you wouldn't mind kind of taking the poll on this first one, I want to hear your thoughts on this, man.
Okay.
Definitely very interested to hear what you have to say on this. Years ago when I started an active investigation in this field, how do I say this without offending all sorts of different groups of researchers? I had the belief that, like some of these things, not all of them, they don't want to sit around the fire and play fiddle with you, for one. I mean, but it depends on the group. Some are nicer than others. Get a little bit of a lag there. I think it's the connection, Igor. You guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hear you good.
I had a little bit of a lag there for a second. Anyway, you're gonna run into some not so nice groups and some ones that are all right, they'll leave you alone. I think a lot of the times you can feel that in the air. JR put it perfectly, he last week when he said one of the groups he was working with now, you can almost feel the tension in the air, cut it with a knife, and the other one is pretty chilled out, and it's pretty much what I've dealt with that as well. I know all you guys have too. Anyway, I would never have considered years ago half the things I have considered now, as far as different theories, this and that. It's without getting too deep in that ball of wax. But, here we go. Hope you guys are ready for this one.
Spit it out.
Oh, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Anyway, a lot of people are, including me, I was one of them for the longest time. They used to believe that you had to shine a spotlight directly in their eyes to get anything back. until I had a very bizarre experience one night in the total pitch black. But we will come back to that later. Patrick,
Yes, sir.
let's hear the thoughts. I mean,
All right.
what's your whole end on this?
It's been my experience as far as peaceful groups versus some groups that are a little more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that I believe as beings, much like us, they feed off of each other's energies.
Okay.
Because I tracked one that was by itself,
Yep.
and it really did not want to make contact. It was really timid and shy. And then I get into a group that went from 1 to 4
Mm-hmm.
beings in the group, and they became more. They become more aggressive. They become more confident.
Confident.
Their confidence feeds on how many beings are in that group and the capabilities of the group.
Okay. I got you.
And as far as the eye shine goes, you can be in pitch black dark.
Uh-huh.
That you perceive. You perceive it to be pitch black dark, but there's still
Right.
there's still light waves out there that you don't perceive.
Okay. And that's what I kind of said to Gary, and we talked about this whole thing. I had an experience this past, my wife and I actually, we had a really hot spot when we were living in North Carolina, extremely. And they were a little on the edgy side. We had a bunch of them come out of the swamp one night, and we had no lighting. I do that on purpose a lot. All the lights were out. There was no moon, cloud covered night, just pitch, damn blackout. And we could hear them walking. A couple of them were in the water, and you could hear them stepping through the water bipedal. There was nothing. And all of a sudden, bang, just this one set. And we had an amber set, we had a red set, and we had a blue set. And I tell you what, I just about lost control of my bladder because I never would have even considered that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Even 2 years ago.
I have personally witnessed and had trackers with me personally witness their collective capabilities of their eyes.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're glowing, but they're actually reflecting. They're actually reflecting the ambient light that they're pulling in that you don't see.
Okay, so we just see. Okay, to put it in layman's terms for the listeners out there, they can take the littlest light and use it to their advantage. Pretty much is what a translation to that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's I was hoping you were going to go in that direction with it, and that made me look like a fool.
Well,
Thanks, Patrick.
I can add to that. Typically with nocturnal animals, the larger their eyes in general, the larger their retinas are, the larger the pupils are, and obviously, therefore, the more light they gather.
Right.
And as far as ambient light goes, there's no such thing as total darkness outside anytime on Earth. You have to completely enclose something to make it totally dark. I mean, there's always going to be some amount of ambient light. And
coming from somewhere.
Yeah, and if you're talking about something with eye sockets the size that they have,
size of the fist.
Yeah, I mean, and ultra reflective retinas. I mean, they will gather that light and can show it. I've seen that in known common animals.
Yeah.
Myself.
I got a video I'm gonna send Gary, and I'm gonna have him play it for you guys. And Travis, you've seen it before, and Gary, you have as well. My nephew, my stepson, my stepdaughter, a friend of hers. We were on that bridge, and we watched one come out of the swamp, and it just bang, there they were, and it came back white, actually, and I've seen them come back all different colors. I know for a lot of people out there, this probably sounds crazy, but I can't deny what you see.
All right, Daniel, your turn.
Yep.
You got. I know.
Okay. Well, Yeah. Well, I was writing a few things down as you guys are speaking there because it made me think of a couple little things. Nothing big, nothing major. Now, as far as I know, you guys are talking about the Squatches putting out eye shine without us shining lights at them.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually only heard of one situation like that here in Virginia. Now, the guy that shared this story, he shared a lot of awesome stuff with me, and he's a skeptic. But he was telling me a story years ago, walking in total darkness down an old trail, which now there's a few houses in the area. He said now, but years ago when he was a young guy, he was walking home alone, walking through this trail, total darkness, and something got his attention. He heard what he described as like almost like a short tone growl.
Right.
He stops. He turns around and probably about 20, 30 feet behind him, probably around 7 feet tall, he's seeing red eye shine just staring at
Mm-mm.
him. Now, he's on level ground the way he described it. Now, unless a bear stood up and was looking at him, but
Right.
but when it comes to bears, I can tell you here in Virginia, from my knowledge on bears, which I do study the bears pretty much, um, when it comes to wildlife. There's a lot of reasons behind bears. Bears, mainly black bears, because there's tons of black bears here in Virginia.
Yep.
Black bears do give off eye shine when light is shined into them, which is typically normally red. But a bear's eyes will not shine. A black bear's eyes will not shine without light. However, now I've read a study. I don't know much about grizzlies, but what little I did read about their eye shine, a grizzly's eye shine will actually almost illuminate or project a redness.
Yeah.
And without eye shine, without light, and that's usually when they're pissed off, showing signs of aggression. And that usually will last maybe an hour or so.
I know polar
until
bear
they
will
calm
too,
down.
won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well,
Yeah. Now, as far as black bears not so much, but only when light is put or shined at them.
Right.
The squatches I've seen, like I said, as far as nighttime, I don't have much experience on visual except for what's our aim. Of course, the eye shine that they were projecting. And I've heard different colors, but what I saw was yellow.
Okay.
A lot of people describe like an amberish color. But these were more of a yellow. That could have been the combination of all the headlamps we were using. Because when we had our encounter, yeah, we all had headlamps on. Some might have been brighter than others.
Could it have been a white, Dan, a little bit, and
but-
your headlamp might have yellowed it up a little?
That's a good question. But the thing is, prior to that, I mean, the deer that we saw before that, shined and projected its natural, bluish marble looking tint.
Right.
And it was fairly close to us off the side of the road, but
Gotcha.
but yeah, every single one, even the first one, like before all of us got up into the area where we saw them, because it started off only seeing one, which the first one we saw, which we believed was like the juvenile, he was a small one,
Right.
and but I was the first one to notice that one, and even with my headlamp alone, it was showing yellow. And
Okay.
of course, when we got everybody else up and we regrouped, got into the area, when we started seeing, because we started seeing one and the third popped up,
Right.
and but yeah, everybody that was with us described seeing the same color eye shine. So I know I wasn't just seeing it, the others were seeing it, and but like I said, LED lights, and that's pretty much what we're using. And I've heard, I don't know much on the different lights and stuff, but people say different lights might project or different light. I don't know, but
well,
that's pretty much what we saw.
when y'all get
Yeah.
I'm gonna verify everything that y'all are saying. Scientific.
Good.
Travis?
I'm gonna jump in on the light color thing because I've done a lot of nighttime predator hunting. I'm in South Central Virginia, primarily coyotes, but foxes, bobcats, raccoons. The one Bigfoot for sure I've seen the eye shine on was actually through generation 1 night vision with an infrared illuminator.
Yeah.
And of course it came back greenish because I'm looking through night vision, which it was green night vision. The determining factor for me to tell you that's what it was first of all, I was on level ground. I knew exactly where it was. I knew the height of it, and it was the size of the eyes and the width of them. And also
Yes.
the extremely quick side step body motion. It didn't like turn and run like a deer or a coyote would. It sidestepped while it looked at me the entire split second it did it. Now with deer, I will tell you just my personal opinion, and I mean I believe it, but deer being a prey animal, their eyes are more focused on the sides of their heads as opposed to predatory eyes, which are on your face, looking forward for depth perception, and that would include Bigfoot. So you're getting a more direct reflection no matter what light you're using. So that's going to change that in itself. But you can take 10 different LED headlamps, 10 different brands, and they're probably not going to all be white. They'll look white.
Yeah, right.
But they all have different bulbs, different wavelengths.
Yeah.
You know, they're putting out light waves at different frequencies. And it can be a mixture of all of them. And not only that, let's say all of us right here, right now, we're out in the woods with 10 different lights, and we all saw the same thing. And then we only saw it for a split second, got excited about it, we start talking about it.
Right.
We're going to all agree that it was pretty much yellowish or greenish.
I think so.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not debunking any. I completely believe what you saw. I've seen it myself.
Yeah.
But there's so many factors, even pollen count, humidity,
Angle, distance,
elevation.
elevation.
So many things come into play that the eye color itself means about nothing.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting because I had never seen anything other than red until that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So or amberish red, whatever. That was a new one on me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, friggin' fluorescent blue. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
I'm gonna take
and it even goes back to like Daniel was talking about grizzly bears giving off a reddish.
Yeah.
And that's probably because their blood pressure's through the roof because they're pissed
I would
off.
imagine so.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen. Almost 2 years ago, I was had the great blessing to be a guest on Daniel's show, and we discussed this same thing. And I told him I had a friend that was an optometrist. How do you say it?
Optometrist.
Optometrist. He's been one for 45 years out of California. This doctorate thesis that I've got sitting in front of me for the University of Southern California is on eye shine and reflection.
Oh, very nice.
Took me a while to get it. I'm not going to go through all of it. I can actually, I'm going to get his permission to send this to you guys.
Okay.
Just some of the highlights that I've got highlighted. If I can pronounce this stuff right, the tapetum lucidum, from Latin, or for bright tapestry coverlet, plural, is a layer of tissue in the eye of many vertebrates. Lying immediately behind the retina, it is a retroflectory. It reflects visible light back through the retina, increasing the night available to the photoreceptors. Although slightly blurring the image, the tapetum lucidum, I'm just going to call it TL from now on, contributes to the superior night vision of some animals. Many of these animals are nocturnal, especially carnivores, while others are deep-sea creatures. Similar adaptations occur in some species of spiders. Haliforan primates, including humans, are diurnal and lack the tapternal lucidum.
Okay, so what is it? Tapternal lucidum?
It's the reflection behind the retina. In the military, we call them rod cells. That's what that amplifies the light. Okay, now that right there proves that, to me, with all the experience that we have in this group, that the Sasquatch is a nocturnal animal. It has the adaptations. We've discussed that. Okay, then I'm going to come down. Presence in the TL enables animals to see in dimmer light that would otherwise be possible. The TL, which is iridescent, reflects light roughly on the retroflex principles of the thin film optics, night vision optics.
Right.
Seen in iridescent tissues, however, the TL, are ludophores or iodophores. Jeremiah, we talked about that just the other day, and yeah,
Yes, we did.
the TL functions as a retroflector, which reflects light directly back along the light path. Key point: the TL functions as a retroreflector, which reflects light directly back along the light path. This serves the match of the original reflected light, thus maintains the sharpness and contrast of the image on the retina. The TL reflects the constructive interference. He does a lot of this. Is a doctorate thesis, sorry. Thus increase the quantity of the light passing through the retina. In a cat, the TL increases the sensitivity of vision by 44%, allowing the cat to see light that is imperceptible by humans.
Ah.
It has been speculated that some flashlight fish may use eye shine both to detect and communicate with other fish. Now, in saying that, I'm going to go down rectal RT as seen in, in other words, crocodiles, marsupials, and fruit bats. The TL is within the retinal pigment. I don't know half these words. I probably should practice this. In the other three types, it is in the coronid behind the retina. So on lizards, marsupials, and crocodiles, it's on the forefront of the eye. That's the reason they bioluminescent with lighter light. On other animals, it's on the backside of the eye.
Okay, is that an actual physical membrane type thing?
Physical membrane.
Okay, that makes me think now.
Well, it basically, the best thing, I mean, I know what he's talking about. It almost compares to like a laser pointer.
Absolutely. And
a laser pointer cycles light super fast back and forth to a pinpoint location back to itself.
Okay.
That's why it's a beam of light.
In saying that, the next statement, the CL, as seen in carnivorous rodents and Cetera carnivore, any carnivore, the TL consists of layers of cells containing organized, highly reflective crystals. These crystals are diverse in shape and makeup. Diversity of angle and brilliance of the light and type of light will cause many different factors in results on reflection. The CL. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to briefly mention, because one thing I was just thinking about, and you hear a lot of other accounts, a lot of other stories, people describing seeing different, the eye shines as we're, the colors of eye shine that we're discussing now.
Yeah.
One of the things I don't think I really ever heard much of, like, what confirms it to them to be a Bigfoot. Like, I just want to throw out just briefly, just on my account, the six of us that, that what we observed, besides the color of the eyes, now there were three subjects right here. And one thing that Travis mentioned, which rang a bell in my head, because that's one of the observations that we had. He mentioned the swaying back and forth.
Yeah.
Out of the three subjects, there was only one that did that, and it did it for quite a while, and it was kind of a fast sway inside the side motion.
Right.
And it was the smallest one that we believe that had been a juvenile. Because what we observed, we believe it had been a family unit. There was a 4-foot one, a 6-foot one. Then after a while, the 8-foot one appeared. It was, the 8-foot one came down and stood up. And trust me, the details of the height, well, I'll explain later. But as far as I'm concerned, what confirmed it for me that they were squatches, the swaying motion to me, I know a lot of people won't agree with this, but I look at Bigfoot in a primate sense, a non-human primate sense, for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people have different viewpoints on that, which is totally cool. This is what helps me understand them, based off of what things I observe and things I find. But as far as the swaying motion, that's primate activity, primate behavior.
Very primate.
The other thing is, now, we saw them blinking their eyes, because I guess the light we were shining, they were staring at us, and they were blinking their eyes a lot, and I believe that came from the light. Now, the tallest one, which we estimated to be around 8 feet tall. Now, this would confirm that for me after that one stood up from behind the bushes. You could easily see the eye shine on that one towering almost 2 feet over top of the 6 foot one. And at one point, it made a maneuver. It made a turn. It turned to the side and took a step and looked back at us. And of course, during that a little maneuver, broad shoulder, the shape of wide broad shoulders and a big round head were made out. That was a silhouette. That's the only details as far as their shape is what was
Right.
made out. I know that wasn't a bear. There was no way that was a bear whatsoever.
Not in Virginia.
So besides shape, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, trust me. We do have. I've seen bears in person. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
We do
Yeah,
have big bears, but
not that.
100-pound bears I've seen. But I know they ain't gonna stand up 8 feet tall.
Well,
No.
it's not
But
only that. I mean,
um,
you take a 500-pound bear, and his eyes, when he's looking at you, are actually really concentrated, really close together. They're just
Well,
right over the ridge.
In proportion, yeah.
Yeah.
But not 8 inches.
yeah.
It would take a 12-foot tall brown bear to get the eye span.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
For me, the way I knew was it was pattern. It was just from observing them night after night.
In verification, what Daniel just said, what y'all are talking about, in low
Yeah.
light, handheld flashlight is sufficient to produce eye shine that is highly visible to humans despite our inferior night vision. Eye shine occurs in a wide variety of colors, including white, blue, green, yellow, pink, and red. However, since eye shine is a typical type of iridescence, the color varies with the angle at which it is seen and the minerals and the blood compound that makes up the reflective TL crystals. Blood pressure, angle, and the crystals in the eyes would cause them to change in the angle. Daniel's story got me thinking when he was talking about how it was changing and swaying, and it was
Right.
the iridescence of it. It just, I knew he'd be in on this one.
And I wonder
That's good stuff.
the
I'd
swaying
like to throw
itself
something out
was.
there.
I wonder if the swaying motion itself was trying to
What was
get
it?
out of direct line. I'm wondering if his swaying motion was trying to get out of direct line.
Travis,
of
let me throw
the
something
light.
at you. In the military, when you get to a certain level in the military, they teach us that we burn out looking at night. Your rod cells, the TL, is, we talked about this the other night. They teach you a figure 8 scan. I wonder if their lights are so much bigger and they've got such better, if that swaying might even be to where they're not burning up those receptors.
I will tell you this is the truth with me. Now,
Well-
my predator hunting, I try not to run a light at all. And if I'm trying to I try to get my own night vision focused in. It takes about 45 minutes for your eyes to adjust to ambient light, whatever the ambient light may be.
Okay.
And I would always, like, say I'm looking, across a field at something that's caught my eye. I would not look directly at it. I always try to look off to the side slightly. Because looking directly at it in low light conditions, I couldn't focus on it. But if I look slightly off to the side, I could actually get a better profile of it.
5 degrees in a circular pattern. Yep.
Yeah. So that would make sense as to why.
in this,
I was
in the situation that we had with the small one that was swaying side to side. I'll give you guys a little bit better scenario of the scenario of the landscape. Well, where we were grouped at when we were observing all this, the forest road, keep in mind, at that particular time, until we got up there, we didn't realize where they were. They weren't that far out. They were only maybe 25 to 30 feet away from us. And I know that sounds pretty close, but yeah, trust me, the next day we did a height comparison in that very same spot. But right there where we were standing at, like I said, that's the 6 foot one and the 8 foot one were almost eye level with us. And this is where we figured out, because that ground actually sloped down several feet and then leveled back out. You couldn't really tell at nighttime, even though we had all those lights. The ground, like I said, ground kind of did a gradual little slope and then leveled out. Now the small one, it kept swaying side to side, even when the 6 foot one came into view. You know, because the 6'1" was standing there just blinking its eyes on occasions. The small one steadily stayed swaying. It slowed down a little bit, then kind of picked back up. You know, doing the like it was like an anxious little monkey. Or,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, here's a
But
question, guys,
yeah.
if you don't mind. With the knowledge that they exist, whether the sun's up or down, and that they do live their lives in daylight also, how much
Yeah.
of their nocturnal behaviors are based on our behaviors?
I would imagine more than we think. If that's a fair
Yeah, 'cause
answer. I mean,
it makes you really wonder because not just my encounters and my experiences, but I've gathered a lot of reports of sightings in the surrounding area. Not in my main research area, but throughout the valley here in Virginia. Yeah, because I live up here in the Shenandoah Valley, and yeah, but I've heard a number of the sightings happen that I hear about happen in between hours of 8 a.m. till sometime after the noon hours. So, but
we get
yeah,
a
I don't know.
lot
I
of them
mean,
day
you hear a
after.
lot of different.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you, Dan. I get a lot of them during the daytime too. Look at that cat. My God, look at the ugly creature.
Can y'all see it?
Yeah.
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 Son of a bitch. Holy Jesus.
But
That is caused by a injury to the left eye.
Ah.
By
oh.
pressure in the eye.
Mm.
I'm going to say one more thing from this paper. I can't read all of this because this is for a certain community. One statement, artificial tapetum lucidum, which is what we're talking about, the membrane. Manufactured retroreflectors modeled after a tapetum lucidum are described in numerous patients and today have many uses, especially in the Department of Defense and the Special Forces. The earliest patient first used Cat's Eye brand lens was in 1968. And I'm not going to say no more. Jeremiah knows where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Does that not blow your mind, Jeremiah?
Yeah, it does. It does. Danny, let me ask you a question. These guys, I told these guys a couple weeks ago, during my second encounter with the big girl, have you ever heard of like a membrane coming up from the bottom part of the eye, having them flicker it? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
That I have.
You know, when a shark, they break down.
Mucus that comes out of the eyes.
Was that in North Carolina?
No, that was right on my property.
The only animals on the planet that does that are 3 breeds of fish.
The dog
and crocodiles.
Dogs do that.
And you know,
and alligators.
You know that whole story. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's called a nictating membrane. It's to protect the eye at the literal moment of attack or prey.
It makes sense because that's when I told you she looked at that rifle on my shoulder, and that's when those eyes started to flicker.
Right, a dog does it too.
It freaked me out, man. I mean, you know the whole story. I was close to her. You know, I was maybe 40 feet away. You know, I'd never seen anything like that. I was just curious, man, to see if you'd ever heard of anyone else reporting anything like that. I've heard of one other case. So it's just very bizarre. It's a very bizarre thing to witness. I can't explain it.
So let me get some confirmation on this now. You're saying that at 20 feet when you seen her, I know the story about her jumping and all that, but when she looked at you and you raised that rifle, her recognition, the lower part of her eye came up? Or
it was, when I met during my second encounter, when I met that one in the swamp, when she turned
the equipment, not the one by
no. That was with that juvenile.
Okay.
That big girl, the big girl one made me piss my pants and stuff. Pardon my language. But anyway, when she looked, her eyes just, you know how their eyes are, man. I mean, she looked at me and then flickered her eyes. Didn't move her head. She flickered it at the barrel of my rifle, and the only thing I can say was her saying, "If you want to try it, but you ain't gonna get it off."
She might have been flicking her eyes at the one behind you. You didn't know it was there.
That could have been it too. It could have been it too, man. But at the same time, it's like a membrane, man, or something that came from behind the bottom eyelid and flickered upward.
Wow.
About 6 times. And I didn't know what to make of it. I don't know if that maybe that has something to do with how they see at night. I don't know.
The only other cryptid that I know of that supposedly that happens to is reptilians.
I don't know.
Wow.
That's what I saw, and I can't explain it. So with Patrick, Dan, one of you guys might have a explanation for that, but that's or heard of something similar. But
Yeah,
no,
I'm not really familiar with that.
I'm not.
yeah, I wasn't either, dude.
Let me ask you this, Jeremiah, because I've never seen one in the daytime. The 3 that I've I might have saw a 4th one recently, but I'm not sure yet. The eyes themselves, were they totally black?
Yes, blacker than coals.
The reason I ask is I've been shared a couple of photos from Texas through a friend personally.
Yes.
And these are actually really, really great, pretty close proximity photos of what I would assume was a very large male.
Okay.
It was just shoulder up, but I mean, he was a hoss.
Right.
And his eyes were just like crude oil black, shiny, big.
During the day.
Yeah. I mean, it was that was the one, I know it sounds cliche, but that was the most intimidating part about her, the beast. But I mean, I had even been in the research for some time at that point, and I had never, ever heard of anything like that.
Well, I'll tell you this,
and I wasn't out looking for a squatch either. I was out hunting, and
if you look at either high speed motion photography of a great white,
yes,
that last second of attack, their eyes are black like that until they attack, and that nictitating lens rolls up. It's like their eye just rolls over in their head.
Yeah.
It's made to protect their eye from bone fragments and shit, isn't it?
Yep. Bone fragments. They hunt sea lions. Sea lions have teeth. They actually have claws.
Yep.
But it's what you're saying makes me think of that split second that shark is actually making that attack. That eye's rolling,
and that's what it was, man.
It's like almost like a windshield wiper flips up.
Yep. She did. Yep. She did it 5-6 times while she was looking at me and giving me that look. You can even try, but you're not gonna make it.
that could have been an emotional response to you.
It could have been.
It could have been a communication to, like I say, that good chance you had another one already pacing you around.
Oh, she wasn't alone. I know that one.
That could have been a real subtle thing for her to send to the other. Like, if he tries this, go for it.
Go for him. I mean, I don't think I could. I think she'd have gotten to me anyway if she wanted to. But when she found out I think she, when she read I didn't have any harm intended, that's when she took off. But
wow.
Yeah.
Back on the color, I was just reading down a little bit. It says animals with blue eye color may display both eye shine with red eye effect. Animals with dark TL have a tendency to be amber or green.
Interesting.
Well, that answers a whole lot right there.
It does. Interesting.
Well, the attributes of what you're talking about, the eye, what you witnessed with the eyes, flickering like that. That film. That is a very primitive attribute for an animal, for a being to have. And that kind of goes along with why they have to see and smell you. They just don't want to see you.
Okay. I got it.
So
they don't want to be around you, but that's the reason they have these attributes, right, Patrick? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
he's saying that goes on more than people notice.
Well, I'm saying that they seem to be, you know, people ask, what are they all the time? And
right.
as a hominid, they have to be a very primitive genetic species to have that kind of lens that covers their eyes.
You say they're basically a more animalistic evolved as far as their eyes. The whole engineering of their eyes is more of a primitive aspect than what we have, because we've evolved to lose our night vision, basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
That would
go ahead, Gary.
That would go right with the theory that, you know, that I've talked with you individuals quite a bit about these being a descendant of the Neanderthal. You know, because we don't have facial structure and tissue. All we have is fossils. We don't know what their eyes was like, but we do know that they was carnivorous and fed mainly on meat as they come across the land bridge. So that right there is just even more with the previous sightings that we have now is giving more credence to that theory, that they have a genetic structure where we have evolved using our brains and tools. We have not needed to have that. You know, we went to for lack of better terms, we went to the daylight, they went to the dark, and they have kept that and developed over a generational period of time, those physical attributes.
Yeah.
Well, did you keep up with, you know, mainstream science has always said that we're alone as a species of beings here, that there's no other hominids, but since 2013 discovery and all the work they've done on the most recent finding,
Naledi.
Yeah, they actually are taking a new look at the family tree of hominids, and they now have a spot for unknown hominids.
Huh.
You know, they actually opened up, instead of saying this is all there ever was or ever will be. They actually have that. It's called the braided stream of evolution tree, and they actually have a spot.
You know,
Well, I mean,
probably a lot more than we think there was.
I mean, I was just in this conversation recently. I mean,
Yeah.
there are hominid species that were known that branched off of basically human beings' lineage that, as far as the fossil record is concerned, they just stopped. That doesn't mean they stopped. It just means they didn't find any more fossils. Fossils in themselves are a miracle, because everything really has to be perfect for them to occur.
Yeah.
And then somebody's got to find them. Then you got to identify them. So this is my personal opinion. They definitely could be a hominid species that branched off thousands, millions of years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, or how long it may have been. And they did go nocturnal. They went primitive. They were intelligent enough to just simply choose to not go the route we went,
right,
and stay more primitive and more, I mean, lack of better terms, animal than what we have.
Gotcha.
I mean, you know, there's no way to know that that's true or not. I mean, that's just
right.
It just makes sense in my mind.
Yeah, I got you.
What's
ahead,
easier?
Dan.
What's
Patrick?
Dan, go ahead if you got something to say.
Oh no, I thought I misunderstood your voices. Go ahead.
Well, what is easier to to believe that mainstream science has found every fossil and knows everything about every hominid that ever lived on this earth, and that there were 100%, or that they missed one?
Oh, I believe they missed several. It was only
I do too.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
There was a fossil that turned up in some fossil market somewhere, I think in maybe Asia, that they dated it 26 million years ago, and they claimed that that is the oldest found fossil of human lineage. It was some kind of lemur, a tree-dwelling lemur.
Yes.
26 million years ago.
That is a long time ago. I mean,
and that was absolutely new to science up until this happened. I mean, I remember reading an article within the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So
You're telling me that Sasquatch is not an alien and a transdimensional being?
You know what? I'm going to tell you. I will tell you this much. I've been through every belief on what these things are since I've started doing this stuff. Every belief. Every time I think I have a logical theory that fits, something else happens that doesn't fit that theory, and that one goes out the window. At this point, I'm at the point right now where I'm not afraid to say I have no freaking clue.
Well, let me throw something at you guys. Every one of us has been in the woods a lot.
Yes.
How many deer carcasses have you found?
In
A partial.
Okay. In comparison, how many predator carcasses have you found?
I'm sorry. I'm going to say 4 that I know weren't shot. I found 3 inside of an abandoned house and 1 in a tree.
The deer. Yeah, I found the deer. I found that one in the tree 3 times in a 8-month period. Same tree.
What about bears?
No, I've never personally found a dead predator.
No,
never.
Travis made a statement earlier that the conditions have to be perfect.
Perfect.
Porcupines eat bones. Raccoons eat bones. Hogs,
mice,
rodents, squirrels.
Yeah.
Fish or anything like that.
And I can tell you this from my coyote hunting, I had a dump spot. I always brought them home, take pictures of them, and then I took them all to the same place and dumped them. You can go there right now and you ain't gonna find a bone. You might, if you dug around and really look, knowing where to look, you might find 1 or 2, but they don't. It's impressive how fast nature really does reprocess everything.
You take pretty well the black bear population we're all pretty much in the central to the eastern United States.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shirking at all to say that in between the 5 of us, we've probably spent at least 5 to 6 years of time in the woods.
I would think so.
We would all agree that you can't hardly find the predator species. That's a regular predator. That's a bear, cougar, raccoon, wolverine, any of them. You take something that has shown intelligence, a sentient thought pattern that has, I believe, a primitive tribal structure.
That I do believe, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I believe they have a very, very complex social structure.
Me too.
That shown in multiple reports. Daniel, I gotta come back to Daniel because he's our guest star today, kind of him and Patrick both, but he made a statement about multiple reports. He's taken hundreds and thousands of reports of intelligence levels, and like he said, upper primate. Even chimpanzees have shown behavioral, ceremonial, ritual consuming their own tribe and their own people, and then dispatching the bones in hidden spots. Burying, I mean, you bury somebody out in we are the only ones that seem to can't bury a body. I mean, here we have technology and we can't bury a body. They float to the top or forensics finds them. These things, I've heard stories of them eating their dead and carrying the bones with them.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna add something. This pertains, and I don't know why, and I don't know what the connection is, but it's very interesting. I've actually been in contact with a lady in North Georgia that what kind of got me turned on to it. A lot of the activity happens around cemeteries.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, my encounter that really put me where I am now, that made me really open my eyes and understand and accept the fact that they are real, they are here, was in a slave cemetery, a pre-Civil War slave cemetery.
You want me to tell you why?
So I don't know what the connection may be, but that adds just to me a whole new angle to it.
A lot of your reports, we are diurnal during the daytime. They're nocturnal. Mm-hmm. Paranormal investigators, people hanging around cemeteries are usually out in the as hunters, we are not out in the middle of winter. So the amount of population overlap, the circumstantial overlap, if we're out in a cemetery looking for ghosts, well, they might be, their population, they might be out everywhere they want. There's two things by this. So that would just the populational overlap, would do that. But also a lady out of Louisiana does paranormal research out of South Louisiana by the name of Eden Bordeaux. I was talking to her. She's had a lot of experiences with these around cemeteries. And I asked her that. I said, do you think it's a spiritual thing? She goes, no. She goes, you know how many rabbits you see in a cemetery at night? And with the fence around the cemetery, she goes, how easy would, because them rabbits will run when they panic, they'll run right up in the corner of the fence. She goes, you can reach down there and grab them by the ears. She goes, I honestly think that they're, and that was the way she put it, and I'll give her credit for it. She said, I honestly think they might be jumping the fence and grabbing a rabbit or two. And, I never thinking about that when I've done my paranormal investigation, lots of rabbits and stuff around.
Absolutely. I told you about how they were, I thought they were, I had it figured right out, how they were coming into our neighborhood in North Carolina, feeding in the feral cats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they were coming in at night and they were picking them. It's like free picking, So
definitely, just like Daniel was saying earlier, in one of his shows I was watching the other night about how it seems like the population is greater around farmlands than it is up in the Pacific Northwest, like Oklahoma now.
I would have to agree.
Easier to survive. As a survivalist, it's easier for me to survive around farms as it is out in the middle of the woods because I can sneak in, grab something,
Absolutely.
grab something out of the garden.
Yep. Absolutely. It makes sense to me. I mean, it does.
I think we lost Travis.
Hang on a second.
He's still lingering.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, I just wanted to check real quick. Since I switched to my phone, you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I can hear you guys. For some reason, my laptop was not working well. As far as I couldn't hear you guys at all, but I hear you guys crystal clear right now. So
Beautiful.
So
one thing that I wanted to, mention since we're here, do you two actually know each other, Dan and Travis?
No, we actually connected. I believe it was Jeremiah that told me about Travis. Well, no, I actually questioned Jeremiah when he sent me a picture of the roundtable discussion. I said, "Oh, I see you guys have someone from Virginia," and that's when he told me about Travis. So
that's where I was going with this. How far away from each other are you two?
You're down where? Down in Lynchburg, Medford?
I'm about 45 minutes south of Lynchburg.
Okay, yeah, because I was down that way. I was all the way down south of Roanoke today. I went through Bedford. I had a few stops out there today, but I was nearby your neck of the woods. So, yeah, I was down.
Well, you know where Peaks of Otter is.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Peaks of Otter is about an hour drive. I can actually see Sharp Top Mountain from my house on a clear day.
Okay.
Yeah.
You two need to kind of get together and
Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I'll make mention it while we're talking about, we just had a really great outing the other day. And the thing is, this past weekend, the outing, it was basically to get together, discuss Bigfoot stories and everything. And then the one gentleman that's doing the documentary with me, he actually came down and spent all day and night. He left late at night, probably about 1:30 in the morning. But I tell you what, it was a great time. A lot of stories and information exchanged. We've actually had a little bit of activity, which was very exciting. I mean, it was for those who heard it. I mean, but one of the things that happened when we were just standing around, sitting around, around the campfire, having a good old time, talking, people sharing their stories and stuff. And then all of a sudden, when it's quiet, all of a sudden, some off behind us, somewhere behind where we were set up at camping, right on the river, we hear this loud crash, and the way I heard it, something got thrown pretty hard in the water, and it caught. I think most of everybody there heard it, and then the other cool thing happened when we were actually, me, the film director, and my girl, my girlfriend's 2 boys were with us. They were actually helping with the lighting, which was pretty cool. Yeah, they were excited to help out, you know. So, yeah, we heard this, you know, wild scream, and it caught us off guard because we were. All right, let me back up a little bit. Before we actually heard that, we were walking up the forest road, and we had a thermal flare with us, and the film director, his vehicle was parked across the forest road just inside the woods because between all the vehicles that were in the campsite and the tents that were set up, you know, we didn't have much room. And so when he arrived, you know, we found a place for him to park. But we're walking up the forest road. This is after we heard the crash and everything. So it got us wanting to look around with a flare. And so he had his camera. He was filming. And something very strange. I was picking up a heat signature on the back of his car. Now, keep in mind, he was with us the whole time because as people were sharing stories, for those who gave him permission, he was recording that. So he was there the whole time till we started walking around. And I noticed this round, oval-looking type imprint on the back of his vehicle. I noticed it through the flare. I said, what the heck? I said, you got a heat signature showing up over here on your back window. And I'm looking at it, and I'm staring at it. And then I said, let me try something, because I've experimented with flares before by putting my hand on a tree for a few seconds, taken away, and your heat signature is going to show up.
Yeah.
And I did so with my hand, just like that, right next to what was picking up. And it was identical. You know, something had hit the back of his vehicle. And he asked to see it. And so he looked through the flare too. And so I think it kind of freaked him out a little bit too. So he was on extra alert, you know, knowing that something was around there. We don't know what. It could have, who knows? It could have been just a bear, you know, because I've had, you know, bears come around my camp, you know. And, so anyway, yeah, so after we were investigating that, we walked on the other side of his vehicle going into the woods a little ways, you know, and all of a sudden that's what caught us off guard. Like we all you know, 4 of us turned around like, what the heck, you know. And the kids were excited. The boys like, we heard that, you know. It was pretty cool because now everybody that was over by camp, there was no way they heard it. So I thought it came from almost in the direction on the other side of the river from camp, because if you go through the woods, it goes up a few small ridges. But Justin, the film director, he said, no, that came over here. I said, I don't know, maybe it's just the position I was standing. I thought it was behind us. He said it was in front of us, but if it was in front of us, that would make a lot more sense too, because it's a much bigger ridge over there. And just up from where we were, there's a camp spot less than a quarter mile down the road where I've camped at. I've had whoops right there at camp, but, you know, and I've tree knocks right at camp. And there's been activity in that area. This is not exactly where my main research area is. It's about a mile from there where I've had the encounter. This is like, yeah, so this is a little over a mile up the road. So, and this spot we were set up in, I never camped there. I've always wanted to camp there because it's nice, especially in the summertime. You got easy access to walk down to the water and get in the water and freshen up. But it was exciting. That little, you know, I know that's not much for many people to get excited about, but just to hear something, you know, you have all these people. Yeah, you have all these people there with you, and you think, oh, you're not going to get none. Just, you know, enjoy your time with everybody. You know, getting to meet people in person. But it was cool. It was definitely exciting. So,
in my experience, usually the bigger the group, the less the activity.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. The other thing too that I didn't expect. Now, there was another spot I originally wanted to get set up in, and it didn't work that way because a couple of the people that were coming out, they came out a day early. They had directions on where I told them to go, and they get there, and of course, there's no phone service in there. So after they ride down there, realize that spot was actually taken. They ride up in the Wi-Fi to call me Friday night, and they're like, we found the campsite you wanted us to go in, but there's a whole bunch of campers and RVs in there. I think they're having a Trump rally in there is what I was talking. I said, what? Yeah, because, the Saturday, you know, because I had to get up early in the morning. I had to go pick my girlfriend and the kids up. And by the time we get out there, I said, let me go see if they were found the right spot, because I told everybody to meet there on Saturday, you know, and I said, if you guys get there before me, and if that spot is taken, I told them to meet me over in the parking lot where the Johnny houses are, which is directly across from there, going into the lake. So anyway, I get down there and I'm looking, and I was like, oh, they weren't lying. There's Trump flags everywhere in there. I was like, this is cool. I got a big Trump flag in my kitchen, but I was like, I was afraid if I hang it out at my camp, I get shot at, you know. But out there, there's definitely Trump country out that way, though. So, but all right, now you guys will probably kick me off since I mentioned I'm a Trump.
No, man, I love it.
I just figured.
Love it.
Don't get me started.
Hey,
baby.
Hey, look, yeah. I like guns, and I don't like to pay taxes. So
I like guns too. I like my 44.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
I think every gun I own is in this room. I got rifle, my shotgun rifle over there, my AR over there. My other guns, I don't know where they are. I got them misplaced somewhere. They're underneath all the clothes on my recliner.
Now, Daniel, let me ask you, where were y'all camped at?
Are you familiar with West Augusta, out around Elkhorn Lake?
Elkhorn Lake?
Yeah.
Is this same? All right, now I got an Elkhorn Lake like right here near me.
There's actually, I come to find out there's actually maybe 2 or 3 Elkhorn Lakes in Virginia.
Yeah.
This one here is, we're close to, where we camped at is very close to West Virginia.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Churchville, Virginia?
Not really.
Oh, okay. You would have to, if you find out where 250 West runs out here in the valley, you take 81 and get off of the exit, exit 225, which is, I could throw a bunch of route numbers out, but you know, if you don't know the area, just confuse you. But
how far from like Radford?
Radford, from that location, I know Radford from where my workshop is, it's probably that's probably about close to 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah. So, yeah, because if you jump on 81 and head north, like what's the furthest north you're familiar with?
81. That would probably be Radford as far as I've been north on 81. Oh, well, you know what?
Oh.
Take that back. I went to Gettysburg a couple years ago, and I come back down that way.
You can come on. You can take 81 all the way up to me.
Yep.
Yeah, I already Googled that.
Yeah.
12 hours and 32 minutes.
Is it? That's not bad. It's
Like
not as far as I thought it was.
700 some miles.
Yeah, you take 81 up to, well, see, I'm originally from Massachusetts, so if we go up there to visit, we take 81. Because we take 81 over to 84, which I believe is in Carlisle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I knew there was something wrong with both of them. Damn Yankees.
Well, I grew up down here. Does that count?
It ain't their fault. They can't help it. I mean,
we can't help it.
He's still here, so he's a true damn Yankee. Jeremiah across the Mason-Dixon, so he's just a Yankee.
Well, I'm further south than Jeremiah. He's up in Pennsylvania, so.
No, I'm in New York, Adirondack.
Oh, you're in New York. Oh, okay. I thought you were in Pennsylvania.
no, he's almost Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on now. Be nice, Travis.
The other day, I swore he was like, "What's up, eh? How you doing?"
My last name is Canadian French. My father's side of his father's father, they're all from Canada. But then my grandmother, which recently passed away, she was 100% pure Italian. So we got Italian, French, and then my mom, she's Irish. So
yeah, you really I got a lot of them in me too. So. Fellas, I hate to do this because that was another awesome discussion.
Yeah, great.
But unfortunately, Dan, thanks for coming on, man. We'd love to have you back on at some point.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to get all of you guys on my Friday night podcast if you guys are all ever free on a Friday.
Absolutely.
So, I know Gary's pretty flexible.
Yeah, I'm pretty pretty flexible myself, so.
But
Okay.
I'm retired, so I get to do what I want.
Well, hey, you guys mind if I plug a thing or two real quick?
No, go ahead, man.
I just want to throw it out there, and I know I'm sure Gary knows about this and heard about it, but of course, because of the pandemic, we had to cancel out this year and everything. But we're hopefully everything goes smooth for 2021 for our 3rd annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference, and that's going to be taking place in Wares Cave, Virginia, at the Wares Cave Community Center. We got the Facebook event page for that. We got the website up and going, which is vabigfootcon.com. So yeah, you guys could check that out. And man, I would love to have you guys all a part of it. I mean, the first couple of years went really great. We've had a really great turnouts. I mean, we've had people come from Washington State, Texas, Florida. I mean, everywhere. And I was surprised. We had people come from all over. Because one of my speakers at my first year event was actually from Texas. And then Ronald J. Moorhead, he was my one of my speakers at my first event. Yeah, he flew, him and his wife flew all the way out from Washington. So it was really great having them. So
while you're at it, Daniel, could you, Jeremiah normally does this, and I jumped on the ball and didn't mean to, but we need to who you are.
Oh, who am I?
Yeah, I was slacking tonight. How did you get here to be with us tonight?
Yeah.
A little bit of your story.
Well, I'm just the band. No, I'm just as far as like who am I in general, as far as what I do, basically.
Damn it. Yeah. We have a celebrity here. Mr. Daniel Benoit is the founder of the East Coast Bigfoot Research Organization.
Yes.
Well, I'll be honest, we're not, as far as being involved with the Bigfoot community, it's only been about 10 years. I'm not going to brag like some of these people. I've been here for 50 years and blah, blah, blah. I can tell you stories about people like that, but don't know, that's from a hole in the wall. But, it's been 10 years, but, I'm somebody, that's always been acquainted with wildlife. And, I grew up in the woods with Dad. Dad's always had me out in the woods hunting with him. And the woods has always been pretty much my playground, But as I stepped foot into the Bigfoot world, to make a long story short, I started, once I learned that there was others involved, I was more or less sitting back, observing, listening, taking notes, and, just hearing the different theories that floated around. And there was a lot of them more back then. And it gave me something to research and look into, But as a Bigfoot researcher, one thing I always tell people, I'm a wildlife and Bigfoot researcher. I always try to put wildlife number one. I believe it's very important because, you have a lot of these enthusiasts and these gung-hos that go out there in the woods and everything's a Bigfoot to them. Bigfoot broke that tree, and they neglect what is known. They neglect what is more responsible for these, because our wildlife, our weather, there's a lot of involved in nature that is responsible for what we come across. And I know, me of all people, I understand where they're coming from. I could easily be that way too, but I feel that's wrong. It's a process of elimination with a number of things, and people got to understand that, and I've heard some people say, well, I don't believe in science. I don't use science. I said, well, then you're lost. I do believe in science to a certain extent, especially in a lot of the studies. I do a lot of research and studies out of the field, and I cherish the moments when I do get in the field to explore. So regardless if I'm hunting, I tell people I'm going hunting, but, I find myself always, looking, observing, checking things out, but that's who I am. I'm not no expert, I will be I'm not afraid to admit that I'm not no expert. There are some things I feel that I do know. Yeah, I feel like there's some things I might know more than someone, but I'm not going to come across as a know-it-all either. Right. I like to try to remain humble as possible. So I think that's the problem with a lot of the people in the Bigfoot community. Everybody wants to outdo the other person. So, absolutely. But they gotta understand it's not a competition. When everybody works together and shares and collaborates their stories and information, That's when things start, the puzzles start coming together, you know?
Absolutely.
So but that's just me. So.
No, I agree strongly. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Gary, and then Travis, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Daniel just said. The evidence has been shared with me privately. Would be mind blowing to the public.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're, I guess, considered the public, but we have a little bit more of a special knowledge in the general public. And it's sad that the Bigfoot community is so tarnished and competitive, and you got, I mean, you do have a bunch of crackpots. You know, you got people, you know, they walk into the woods, you know, oh, that rock's turned over, Bigfoot. That tree, it's Bigfoot. Oh, look, you know, there's a dead squirrel. Bigfoot killed him. He left it for me to find.
Yeah.
And that and the sad part, I mean, that discredits people like us that really are serious and know, and you know, are trying. And I mean, I'm not trying to prove it to anybody. I do it because, just like y'all, once you've experienced it, you can't walk away from it.
Nope.
You want more knowledge. You want to learn.
Absolutely.
You know, so the more you can find out just for yourself personally, and I do so much appreciate the things that have been shared with me. It's just, for me in general, it's sad that the whole culture behind it now is prevented even me, you know, from sharing some of the things. I mean, I've shared something with Jeremiah that I wasn't even supposed to have. And I haven't made it public, never will, because I said I wouldn't, on the fact that I could actually have it for myself.
Right.
You know, and it's just sad that we actually are in that arena right now.
Yes, it is.
Patrick,
and hopefully sooner or later, I don't care who it is, me, one of y'all, or somebody I've never heard of, does get something that's so compelling that it really does take this out where it needs to be.
Yeah.
You know.
Well said.
Well, to interject and agree and just throw something else out there, it is the competitive nature of researchers trying to outdo one another. You know, I guess that is part of the human nature, but that does also hinder. But what the most destructive thing I find in this community, and I'm not really from this community, I'm from another community that just got in here, you know, a year ago. It's people regurgitating and recounting information that is not proven out as fact, and they're putting it out as fact and believing it as fact, and they make other people that come into the community that you know don't have a basis for it believing that what they're proving as fact is fact.
Yeah. Yeah, that's you get a lot of people like that out there. I noticed that myself, you know. Let's see.
I'll put it in a very short little statement Travis started, and I'll just add to it. He said a statement called culture.
Mm-hmm.
Culture has become a pop culture.
Yes, indeed.
Diluted by money, motivated.
Absolutely.
Motivated by hatred. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I served I serve and still do serve my primitive survival skills community for over 20 years at my expense. Serve. I mean, the word service. And that's what I try to do in this community is to serve the community with the information on a being that I never wanted to know about. You know what I mean? And so if we had a little more work togetherness, I think we would definitely get a lot further in this subject.
Absolutely. That's why I like that's why.
I just lost Jeremiah.
Uh-oh. Yep, he muted.
My back?
Yeah, you hit the mute button.
He's gone again.
Just a second. I got you. Leave the buttons alone. I'll take care of it. Oh no, you're gonna have to hit it because it's not there. You
got it. I know what I did. I agree, Patrick.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
That's right, man. That's right. Well, guys, awesome show. Patrick, you got anything else you want to add? I might have cut you off there.
No, I was done. It was just, if we could just just follow the facts and work together.
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If I could throw out a few books I could recommend. All these books could be found on Amazon. There's one entitled called Learning Bigfoot. There's another one called Bigfoot Theories versus Facts, Going Against the Grains of Science. And another one is Wildlife and Bigfoot Field Guide in an Objective View. You can find that on Amazon, or you can go to lulu.com. And these are just simple scientific books. Some of them are simple scientific research-based books. And they are all authored by yours truly. So you could go check them out. But the newest one is the Wildlife and Bigfoot Field Guide. It's a small field guide booklet. I did this one, mainly for the enthusiasts, those who are new getting into this, because I've been asked numerous times, well, what do I do? How do I get involved? How do I get started? And I actually lay this out in all the books where there's a simple step format I like to start people off with. And the main thing is get familiar with your known wildlife. And when I've gone to give presentations, one of the first things it kind of shocks people and it blows them away. But one thing I tell people is when you're going out in the woods, forget about Bigfoot. Forget about Bigfoot. Because you know what? Bigfoot should be your last thing on your mind. And when you're trying to analyze and study a situation, Bigfoot should be your last conclusion, So, but yeah, it's a lot of, basically, if you think about it, a lot of it's common sense, But there's a lot more to it I lay out there. But so yeah, those are just a few you could check into. Again, because I have these few books does not make me an expert. In a lot of them, it's my opinion and my research, and it's my explanation behind what I throw out there. So, and yeah, I'm not no scientist, but I do try to look at things in a scientific and objective manner. So,
sure,
yeah,
awesome. Thank you, Dan. To back you up there, I don't think any of us are experts.
Absolutely.
Not even close.
I am. I got one in my closet over here. I'll tell you what. I'm sure there are some folks out there that,
yes,
a lot of folks out there that really know a lot. And
yes, I agree.
This is such an elusive subject matter.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
There's not anybody in the mainstream community that I would call.
Right.
I mean,
no.
There's no such thing as a Bigfoot expert.
No,
there's not.
Yeah,
but there's.
I'll actually something Patrick said earlier got me to thinking. Bailey, stop. Sorry, puppy. People who are really legit into this field didn't ask to be here.
No.
I mean, I didn't go looking for this. It showed up.
Yeah.
And I believe, not to say that there are not people interested that went out and did experience something, because that does happen, of course, but the people who are really in this for the right reasons, for the real research behind it, learning, sharing experiences, evidence, credible evidence, the people that are really that deep into it, they were pulled into it.
Yes.
I didn't go out looking for it. I mean, it kept just, I guess, where I was, the area, over and over and over, just little things, until it finally culminated to that point that I just had to accept the reality of what I was experiencing. And I'm not going to tell you that this was something I experienced just regular all the time. This was over years and years and years, different experiences.
Right.
You know, and I just, if anybody that does want to get into it that's so interested, I'll completely agree with Dan saying, first of all, learn the woods, learn what you're dealing with, learn the animals, because you can't claim an experience. I won't claim one for myself until I've eliminated everything that it possibly could be.
Right.
To get rid, because I mean, you know, I got buddies that, you know, predator hunt, coon hunt at night, you name it, that are dead skeptics, don't believe in it a bit, but they'll even tell you weird stories.
Sure.
They can't explain. I mean, there's probably not even Bigfoot related. It's just a whole lot of weird stuff goes on in the woods at night. You know.
It's the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, for example, one of my favorite reports is hearing from bear hunters that claim to have seen one. And you know, these are bear hunters. You know, they're going to be able to identify a bear, regardless of if it's on fours or standing up. I mean, stuff like that to me, I find incredible because, you know, these guys have been, you know, they're not amateurs. You know, you don't just start off of nowhere, go out in the woods and look for a bear, you know, regardless if you're running dogs or not. But, you know, these are trained people. They've over the years, they're experienced. They know what to do and what to look for.
Well, they're born into it. They're raised doing that.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah. But I had a pet bear once, but he got old. No, I'm just joking. I found this out in one of my discoveries out there. Yeah.
Very cool.
So,
That's cool.
So
cool.
He's got whiter teeth than I do. Copenhagen doesn't help much, but
it's ruined my teeth over the years. So I started smoking cigarettes. I guess not a good way to play myself.
I got teeth issues too. Maybe eventually I'll get some dentures if it gets that bad.
I've got pork chops, mac and cheese, and mashed potatoes and gravy waiting on me.
Yeah, I got to bounce too, gentlemen. Awesome show. Awesome.
Thank you guys again for having me on. So I'll be reaching out to you guys soon to see if I can get you guys scheduled and jump on my podcast Friday night. Yeah, I usually go live 9 p.m. Eastern time. So
very good. Dan, how can people get a hold of you if they have any questions?
Well, I'm right there on Facebook. As you see my name, Daniel Benoit. You know, I got the ECBRO fan page. I got the ECBRO Facebook group. And for those who are wondering, the ECBRO stands for, again, the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization. You can email me, ecbro98@gmail.com. Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. You know, and again, I'm easy to find on Facebook because I have several different pages and groups I'm administrator of. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Gary, I know you want to go be eating. How can people get a hold of you?
Facebook, Poor Boys Paranormal Podcast.
Okay. Awesome.
Email is SSBear@gmail.com, and or just get a hold of Jeremiah or Daniel. They both know how to get a hold of me, but I'm on Facebook, and we have our YouTube channel, but that's all not that important. What's it? And the proof and the protection thereof.
That's right.
And guys, it's been a great show.
Awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Travis, you want to throw your contact info out there, man?
Yeah, you can get me on my email. It is onthetrail.tb@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook, my personal page, Travis Bowen, Dry Fork, Virginia. You can find me there, message me. Any questions, contact, you know, whatever, encounters.
Thank you, Travis. Patrick?
I'm on Facebook. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything fancy. I'm just on Facebook and trying to support this community. Patrick Vaugn, VAUGN.
We appreciate that, Patrick. Thank you very much. And
I said he doesn't have a YouTube channel yet.
Yeah.
I I don't want one. I'm busy enough just tracking them and chasing them down and handing out information.
Right.
That's right.
And I'm Jeremiah Fountain. You can reach me at the group on the trail, Cryptid Paranormal Research Group. You can reach me at my wife's group, Secret Society of the Paranormal Encrypted Investigations, and my email on the trail.jf@gmail.com, messenger, or hit up any one of these guys. They know how to get a hold of me. Simple as that. Gentlemen, awesome show. We'll, Gary and I will hopefully get it up here tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you guys
Everybody
very
have
much.
a good night. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Patrick, Travis, Gary. Appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.